Life throws punches, doesn't it? Big ones, small ones. Sometimes you see them coming, sometimes bam, out of nowhere.
Yeah, it really does. And we've all been there, right? Facing those moments that just hurt.
Hmm.
Real pain, real hardship.
Absolutely. But it's how we react in those moments, isn't it? That
Mm.
seems to be the really crucial part.
That's exactly right. This isn't really about trying to dodge every single bump in the road that's impossible. It's more about understanding what those bumps can actually do for us.
Potential, you mean?
Yeah, potential. Like Jim Rohn talked about, these difficult times, well, they're obviously not pleasant. Nobody enjoys them. But they hold this remarkable power inside them, power for growth, for development.
It's a different way of looking at it for sure.
It really is a perspective shift that can change how you navigate, well, everything life throws at you.
And that's exactly what we want to get into today. We've been digging into Jim Rohn's teachings, specifically his ideas around let's call it, the transformative power of pain. So it's not about wishing the tough stuff away, but more about, learning how to find the strength within those experiences.
Exactly. Our mission here in this deep dive is really to explore how we can sort of reframe how we understand challenges.
Reframe, okay.
Yeah, instead of just seeing them as purely negative, as things that just happen to us, how can they actually become the fuel, the stuff that pushes us forward, makes us, stronger, more resilient?
Okay, so let's start there. Ron makes it really clear. Pain, hardship, they're not the exception.
No, definitely not. They're the rule. It's universal, part of just being human.
Which is maybe a bit stark, but also kind of comforting. Like, okay, it's not just me.
Right. No one gets a free pass. Even people who look like they've got it all figured out, believe me, they've faced their own battles. Everyone does.
So the difference isn't if you face challenges.
Exactly. The real difference, the defining factor in Ron's view, is how you choose to respond. That's the key. So when those hard times hit, and they will, you're standing at this sort of crossroads, right? Are you going to let this break you down, diminish you?
Yeah.
Or are you going to see it as maybe an opportunity, a chance to build some inner strength, to actually shape your character through it?
He uses that analogy, the refining gold one. That sticks with me.
Oh, yeah, it's a great one. That fiery, intense process.
Yeah.
Definitely not comfortable.
Not at all.
But it's absolutely necessary, isn't it? To burn away the impurities, to get to the valuable stuff underneath. Ron suggests our struggles can do something similar for us. A kind of purification.
Burning away the fluff, maybe?
Kind of. It's often in those moments of real pressure, when you feel stretched thin, that you suddenly discover things about yourself, strengths you didn't even know you had. Resilience.
Yeah, that's true. You look back sometimes and think, wow, how did I even get through that?
Exactly. So think about it, maybe a challenge you faced, something significant you overcame. What did that experience actually, reveal in you? What capabilities surfaced?
It does make you reflect, yeah. And Ron really pushes this idea that successful people, they don't see pain as the end of the road.
No, it's a detour, maybe. Or even a launch pad.
Yeah, like a stepping stone. That's the term he uses. It's not about getting stuck in the difficulty, but asking, okay, what's the lesson here? How can I use this to move forward?
And this connects to another thing Ron often talked about, the butterfly.
Oh, right, the cocoon.
Yeah, that struggle it goes through to break free.
Yeah.
Looks like just suffering, but it's absolutely vital. That resistance is what builds the strength in its wings.
So if you try to help it.
You actually cripple it. If you cut the cocoon open, make it easy, it never develops the power it needs to fly.
Wow.
Ron saw our personal struggles in that same light. They're necessary, in a way, for our own development, to build our own wings.
That paints such a clear picture. He often used stories, too, didn't he, to make these ideas more concrete?
Yes, definitely. There's one I remember about a young guy, came from a really tough background. Lots of poverty, obstacles, people telling him he couldn't do it. But instead of just giving up, he used all that hardship, all that negativity as fuel, as motivation. Ron called it the fire that would refine him.
The fire that would refine him, I like that.
And this kid, through sheer grit and hard work, facing down all those challenges, he eventually achieved his dreams.
And the point wasn't just work hard, was it?
No, the powerful part, the core of Ron's message there, is that where you start out in life, it doesn't have to dictate where you end up.
Right.
It's how you handle the challenges, the inevitable stuff you hit along the way. That's what really shapes your path.
Okay, now this next bit Ron talks about is really interesting. The idea of finding purpose in the pain.
Right. This isn't about saying pain is good or liking it.
No, definitely not romanticizing it.
Exactly. But it's about asking, Could there be a reason for this, even if I don't see it right now? And finding that reason, or even just believing there is one, can give you incredible strength. It helps you keep going.
How do you find that purpose, though? That seems like the hard part.
It is hard. Ron often used examples, like Franklin D. Roosevelt. Think about that, contracting polio, facing immense physical pain, emotional struggle.
Yeah, unimaginable for someone so active.
Right. But somehow, through that adversity, he found this renewed sense of purpose and went on to lead the country through incredibly tough times. His own resilience became this huge source of inspiration for others.
So the purpose isn't always obvious or even just about you.
Not always, and it doesn't have to be some huge world-changing thing like being president. Ron suggested the purpose can be very personal. Maybe the purpose is simply to make you stronger, more resilient.
Or to teach you something important.
Exactly. A life lesson you wouldn't have learned otherwise. Or, and this is a big one, maybe it's to develop empathy, to help you truly understand what others are going through when they face similar struggles.
That makes sense. It requires a shift, though, doesn't it, in how you think about it?
A fundamental shift. Ron really pushed this idea. Instead of seeing pain as something just happening to you, like you're a victim of circumstance.
Which is easy to do. So easy. But try to consider, could this be happening for you? Even if the why isn't clear yet. It's a tough mental flip. Really tough. But potentially transformative.
I can definitely relate to that. I went through a period a few years back, and Ron's ideas really resonated then. Lost my job, had some health issues crop up. It just felt like one thing after another.
Yeah.
And honestly, for a while, I was totally stuck in that why me mindset. Felt helpless. But then I remember this turning point, just deciding, okay, I have a choice here. I can stay stuck feeling sorry for myself, or I can actually try to use this, use the frustration, the fear, whatever it was, as fuel to rebuild, to figure out what's next. And just making that decision, deciding to take back some control, that felt incredibly empowering.
That's a perfect example of what Ron was talking about.
Yeah.
And it leads into another aspect. Sometimes our own pain equips us to help others.
How so?
Well, think about people who've gone through really difficult experiences, illness, loss, addiction, whatever it might be, and then they turn around and create something positive from it, like starting a support group or raising awareness.
Exactly. They start foundations, they mentor others, they offer understanding because they've been there. They've transformed their personal struggle into a way to make things better for someone else. Their pain gave them a unique kind of wisdom and empathy.
Right. And underpinning all of this, it sounds like, is mindset. Ron talked a lot about mindset, didn't he?
Constantly.
Yeah.
Specifically, how we choose to interpret our pain, how we think about it. He called it reframing.
Reframing, changing the picture.
Kind of. Changing the narrative you tell yourself about it. So instead of just seeing a setback as purely bad, purely negative, you actively look for a different angle, a different way to view it.
Okay, give me an example.
Well, let's go back to the job loss scenario. The initial feeling is probably disappointment, maybe fear, anxiety.
Yeah.
That's unnatural.
Sure.
But reframing means you consciously try to shift that perspective. Could this actually be an opportunity? Maybe it's the push you needed to finally start that side project you've been dreaming about.
Or to go back to school or look for something completely different.
Precisely. Maybe it's a chance to reinvent yourself in some way. Now, the reframing doesn't make the pain of losing the job magically vanish.
No, of course not.
But it changes how you experience that pain. It changes your sense of control over the story. You're not just a victim of the event. You're actively finding ways to respond constructively.
That makes a lot of sense. So reframing is key. Any other practical tools Ron suggested?
Yes, a big one. Gratitude.
Gratitude. When things are falling apart, that seems hard.
It does seem counterintuitive, right? But Ron emphasized that actively focusing on what you do have, what you are grateful for, even small things, can make a huge difference when you're going through a tough time.
How does that work, though? Why gratitude?
Well, according to Ron, it sort of disrupts the negative spiral. When you're in pain, it's easy for your thoughts to just keep circling the drain, focusing only on what's wrong.
Yeah, that happens.
Gratitude forces you to break that pattern. By deliberately looking for and acknowledging the good things in your life, no matter how small they seem, you build up resilience. You cultivate a bit of hope. It shifts your internal focus.
Okay, so how do you do that, practically speaking?
Ron suggested some really simple, concrete things, like keeping a gratitude journal. Just taking a few minutes each day, maybe at the end of the day, to write down, say, 3 things you are grateful for.
3 things. Doesn't sound too hard.
No. Or just practicing mindfulness. Taking quiet moments during the day to consciously think about things you appreciate. Your health, maybe, if you have it. A supportive friend. A sunny day. Anything.
He called gratitude a lifeline, didn't he?
He did. And I think that really captures it. In those really challenging moments, it can feel like something solid to hold on to, a way to stay afloat.
It's good to have those practical anchors.
Definitely. And it's important to remember, Ron always stressed this turning pain into growth
Yeah.
isn't like flipping a switch.
Right, it's a process.
It's a journey. It takes time. It takes effort. There will be good days and bad days, progress, maybe some steps back. But the key is to keep facing the difficulties, keep trying to learn from them. Each time you do, you're building that inner strength, that wisdom, bit by bit.
So wrapping this part up, the main takeaway from Ron here seems to be pain happens. It's part of life. We can't avoid it.
Correct. It's inevitable.
But it doesn't have to define us. It doesn't have to be the whole story. We actually have the power, the capacity to take those tough experiences and, well, transform them.
Reshape them into something meaningful, something that helps us grow as people.
So embrace the challenges, look for the lessons, and use them somehow as fuel to move forward.
Beautifully put. And these principles, everything we've discussed today, they really stem from that core wisdom of Jim Rohn, highlighting that potential for growth hidden inside life's difficulties if we approach them with intention.
If you're finding these kinds of discussions helpful, digging into ideas from thinkers like Jim Rohn, if you want more insights on navigating life and building resilience,
Well, we'd actually love it if you'd consider subscribing to our YouTube channel. We go deeper into topics like this, share more resources. It's a great place to continue the conversation.
absolutely, good suggestion.
Okay, so to bring our deep dive on Ron and the power of pain to a close, maybe something for you, the listener, to think about.
Yeah, a final thought. Consider this. What's maybe one small thing you could do this week, just one step, to consciously try and reframe a challenge you're currently facing?
Just one small shift in perspective.
Exactly. And alongside that, what's just one thing right now, even if things are tough, that you can genuinely say you feel grateful for? Maybe just take a quiet moment later today or sometime this week and really reflect on those two questions, see what comes up.